Hello and welcome to the WTBU Sports America East Softball Tournament Preview. I'm Tyler Murray, joined by Seth Orensky and Chris Aliano. Should be a great weekend of softball coming up. BU will host the tournament after a wild weekend in the last week of the conference, Seth.
Absolutely. BU was able to get that top seed in the tournament thanks to a strong weekend in Binghamton. They took 2 of 3 from the Bearcats, who are the number 3 seed in the tournament. First time they've been there in their 10-year existence in America East. The 2 seed went to Albany. They struggled down the line. Were able to finish strong, though. They earned the 2 seed, tying with BU at 14-4. And then UMBC, by virtue of a Maine loss to Hartford on the last day of the tournament, gets in despite an 8-10 record. And
BU has home field advantage, of course, Chris, but they look like the best team on paper as well.
They sure do. The Terriers have a lot to like about themselves going into the tournament. On paper, leading most categories, if not all of them. Team ERA, their pitching staff has been the best in the conference all season long. Whitney Tuttle, Aaron Schubert, Holly Flecker leading the way. And as Cassidy Hardy proved last year, this is a tournament dominated by good pitching. And of course on offense, April Setterlin, Chelsea Caird, Jamie Mask having a great season. And that young core, Meg Volpano and Brittany Clendenny, these are freshmen that are playing well beyond their years. And Amy Eckert behind the plate hit a couple of grand slams 2 weekends ago against Albany. She's really coming into her own, so the Terriers look to be the favorite going to this tournament, guys.
A lot of exciting talent coming to Boston this weekend. It all starts Thursday, so let's take a look at the key players for this weekend's tournament.
Well, this tournament, in my mind, is going to come down to a few players. I'll start with BU. April Setterlin, of course, has to be your favorite. This is her senior year, and she told me a few weeks ago that she wanted to save her best for last, and she really has come on at this part late in the season. I'll go over to Binghamton now. Jessica Phillips leading the conference in batting average and home runs, hitting .444 with 14 long balls. And then Gina Mason of Albany. Listen, BU is the only team that can dominate another team with pitching. Albany has a good staff, but BU overwhelmed them a couple weekends ago. Binghamton and Albany are going to rely on their power hitters, and it starts and ends with those two.
The old adage is, when it comes to championship softball, it's all about pitching and defense. And for the Terriers, that's one of their biggest strengths. Who's the player to watch, though? It's got to be Whitney Tuthill. Tuthill has the advantage being a ground ball pitcher in such a small park like the BU softball field. She's probably going to save the Terriers a few runs. Aaron Schubert has been great all season. She struggled as of late, giving up a lot of long balls, and there's a ton of power in Binghamton and Albany. And then Holly Flecker, she's so young. Tuthill has been there before. She didn't pitch last season, but was under the tutelage of Cassidy Hardy, and she's got to be the person who steps up for this Terrier squad, whether she's starting or in relief, to help BU get through this weekend. They don't have the dominant pitcher in Cassidy Hardy, but they do have the experience in Whitney Tuthill to get back to that championship game and hopefully to go to the national tournament for the 3rd year in a row.
Key players for BU this weekend, I'm looking at Jamie Mask, the leadoff hitter. Had to sit out all last year as a freshman, and now we're finding out just what the Terriers were missing last year. Second on the team in batting average. She leads the team in runs scored, a great glove out in right field, and she can set the table so well with that slap hitting style. Mask and Kasachi, those 1-2 hitters, really set the table for Setterlin in that 3-hole, and that's how a lot of runs get driven in for BU this season. It should continue into the weekend. Jamie Mask, look out for her. Leadoff spot for the Terriers.
Well, my prediction for this tournament is that it will be BU in the championship final, but who will they be playing? Well, it'll come down to Albany and Binghamton. Those two are the 2nd and 3rd seeds. They'll be playing in the first round, and I think Albany will get in just based on they have a little bit more of a balanced lineup. They do have a power hitter in Gina Mason. Binghamton, though, with Jessica Phillips, they can steal a game with power of their own, but Albany, based on the balance of the lineup and the next best pitching staff behind BU, will get in for that championship final versus the Terriers, but in my opinion, the BU lineup is just too balanced, the pitching staff too good, and April Setterlin, Chelsea Caird, those bats, and of course Meg Volpano, the cleanup hitter. The 3-4-5 for BU is just too deep, and that'll carry them to their 3rd straight tournament title.
On paper, the Terriers have everything you need to win a championship, but who's going to match up with them on Sunday? I got to take Albany for one reason. Pitching and defense, they have the 2nd best ERA in America East and the #1 fielding percentage, and it's all because of the Brittnys. Brittany McFawn and Brittany Schweiger are the 4th and 5th best pitchers in terms of ERA in the conference, just behind Tuthill and Flecker. That's going to help them get into the championship games, but I just don't think they have enough in terms of a balanced lineup, and the Terriers pitching is slightly better. So BU might be forced once again to play that 2nd game on Sunday, but I think the Terriers are going to come out with another crown.
For my prediction, I have to agree with the general consensus that the Terriers will make the final, but as far as who they'll be playing, I have to go with Binghamton. I expect the Bearcats to make a big splash in the opening rounds this weekend. It's between them and Albany. I have to agree with Chris on that, but the Bearcats have been playing very well down the stretch. It's their first time in the postseason in conference, so they'll be coming out with a big hunger, I think. Albany does not have the offensive firepower you want from an America East finalist. Binghamton has a lot of firepower as well. They can take care of business. Decent pitching. Albany cannot rely on their pitching throughout this tournament. I think Binghamton is going to make a big splash and get to the final with their offensive power. They cannot take down BU, I don't think. It's April Sutherland's senior year. You can't forget that. I don't think the team captain is going to let the Terriers do any worse than first place this weekend. It all starts Thursday at 1 p.m. at BU softball field when the Terriers host UMBC for Game 1. We'll have the coverage of every single game for you on WTBSportsRadio.com, so stay tuned all weekend.